scooterists, futurists, scooteristas, escuteros, boot scootin' boogiers, those who ride scooters to their jobs at Hooters, super scooter non-polluters. You're all welcome here to our non-exclusive club at the Electric Scooter Podcast. Welcome to episode number 5, where today's topics are: should you even buy a scooter? Topic number 2, another YouTube channel, not review, but I just like to talk about and kind of promote the YouTube channels that I like. Today is about Ben Fox from the other side of the pond. And a very controversial topic, but something you'll really want to know about if you are considering buying a scooter or buying a second or third or fourth in some people's, like my case, scooter. An important question you have to ask yourself is, do you want pneumatic tires, solid tires, or honeycomb tires? Are honeycomb kind of a best of both worlds? I don't know. Stick around. Let's find out. I'll give you my opinion, and then you decide. Topic number 1 on the Electric Scooter Podcast: should you buy a scooter? You must be considering it, or you already own a scooter now, or my sense is you probably would not be listening to this show. Here are the questions I would have to ask you. First, what is the purpose? Are you buying it to commute, to work, short trips just here and there to the store? What is your price point? Are you doing it just for fun? Are you doing it to save money? Do you have a DUI, perhaps? That would actually be a good reason to buy a scooter. I'm telling you, I would. I've never had a DUI, but I would get myself a big, powerful scooter if I didn't have a driver's license. So, are you buying a scooter to commute? My question would be, how far are you commuting? Where do you live? What kind of weather are you going through? Where I live, it's hot, and there are a lot of rocks and sand and gravel. We don't have good curbs along our roads, and little rocks and gravel are around every corner. So I ride motorcycles and bicycles and electric bikes and skateboards and electric skateboards and scooters. Scooters are my favorite, but I do have all those other types of transportation, or PEV. Actually, the motorcycle's not PEV. Personal electric vehicles is the code word that they're dropping these days, or micro mobility. There are many advantages to commuting to work on a scooter. If you live, I don't know, I would say within 4 miles, then it's really, really doable. And you really have to take a close look at what scooter you're going to buy, what type of scooter, what type of roads you're on, the weather. You got to dress right, you got to have a helmet and, elbow and knee pads, definitely recommended. Even for older folks, maybe something for your hips. So those are all considerations. Think about this, though. If you were taking your scooter to work, not only are you having fun on the way, is it dangerous? Yes, it is a little bit more dangerous. It is definitely more dangerous to take a scooter to work than it is to drive a car. But you don't have to worry about parking. I would look at what my threshold or my tolerance is for getting to work. Well, if you live in Bangkok or New York City, you're going to get there a lot faster on a scooter. But if you live in someplace wide open, it's going to take you longer to get there, so you're going to have to calculate that. You're also going to have to calculate your parking. If you have too heavy of a scooter, you might not be able to go upstairs with it, but you could certainly take an elevator. Also, can you charge it at work? There are some scooters like the Levy, L-E-V-Y, or Levy, I think it is, that you can remove the battery. So you could lock it up if you have, for example, underground parking. You lock up your scooter, put your battery in your backpack and charge your battery under your desk all day while you're at work. Or you could leave the battery on. You could carry a spare battery. That's if you need it. If you live within 4 miles of work, I can't think of a scooter that's not going to take you there and back. If you live further, most scooters are going to go 10, 12, 15 miles. I happen to have one that'll go 30 or 40 miles. Some of the more higher end ones will do that. So you've got to calculate all of those things if you are taking your scooter to work. Now, short trips to the store. You heard Kira, I believe it was episode 2, talking about that's her favorite thing on the scooter, just jumping on the scooter and, hey, have a little fun, get the wind in your hair, and go pick something up at the store. Someone in your house goes, hey, we need clothespins. Oh, I'll go get them. And, hey, you end up being a nice person, doing the favor, and having the fun. What I recommend, if you take your scooter to the store, commuting to the store, I wouldn't leave it outside and lock it up. Some of them have keys. I don't think a key is going to stop anybody. The way things get stolen, at least here and other places I've lived, is they just pick it up and throw it in the back of a truck anyway. So I would not rely on any of these scooters that have a keyed ignition required for starting the scooter. I just don't have any faith in that. What you need to do is bring your scooter into the store. Physical fitness is going to play a role also. What kind of shape are you in? Are you a former skateboarder? Former surfer? Do you ride motorcycles? Do you do things that require balance? Are you comfortable with those types of things? If you are obese and elderly and have never ridden a skateboard, you might be asking for trouble. I had a friend from Nebraska, and this is a terrible story, by the way. He could see, like in a microcosm, one aspect of human physical frailty, in that his father lived in a small town, and every person from his father's high school graduating class lived within like 5 miles 30 years after graduating from high school. No, that's got to be wrong. More like 40 or 50 years, because they were elderly. And I think he said it was like 6 or 7 people in his father's circle happened to, for a variety of reasons, break a hip. Well, every single one of them died within 1 year. So if you're elderly, breaking your hip is a real concern. You might want to look to another type of transportation, something safer. Maybe something with a big, long front end on it, and some electric safety devices and seat belts, those type of things. So you have to take physical fitness and what kind of shape you're in into the equation when you're considering whether or not you should buy a scooter. Price point is another huge question that everybody's going to ask themselves. I went at the $800 price point for my initial scooter, and that was a Fluid Free Ride, which is in Miami, Florida. Horizon is the name of the model I got. And we're going to talk a little bit later about tires, and it has one solid tire and one pneumatic tire, which is kind of odd. But if I was commuting to and from work, I think that would be an ideal scooter and an ideal price point if I wanted to stay on the low end. If I wanted to be comfortable, maybe I was a little heavier gentleman or lady, go for the $1,400 category. There are a lot of really good scooters in that category by Apollo, eMove. There's just too many to list. Mantis. There's just a lot of them. And that, to me, I think is kind of a sweet spot. But if you're like me and you do get your first scooter, here's the danger. You immediately want more. You want to go faster. You want to go further. You want to go off-road. You want to have more fun. So that is the conundrum that you're going to find yourself in is if you just spent all that money up front at first, would you then be happy in the long term? I went with the $800 scooter, and then I jumped all the way up to a $3,000 scooter because I didn't want to go through that again. But I'm not dissatisfied with the Fluid Freeride Horizon. It's great, and friends ride that while I'm on the Wolf Warrior as we cruise around town, and so do family members. And it's just a great scooter. It's not a great scooter. It's a good scooter. It has its downfalls. It has its pros and cons. I'll probably do a deep dive on each of the scooters that I own. Those will be podcasts for future episodes. So think about that. Think about, of course, well, I don't have to say think about it. You're thinking about it. What is your price point? Always, more is better. But then again, what if you throw all that money out there and you end up not liking it and you don't catch the scooter bug? Then you have this big, expensive scooter that you walk past your garage all the time and you look at it and you feel that little twinge of guilt for spending all that money. I suppose you could turn around and sell it, and you could probably sell it quickly, I would think, on Craigslist if you're willing to do that kind of thing. So just another point I'm bringing up for your consideration. The next issue for me is everything, and it's just fun. And that's why I bought an off-road scooter with knobby tires. It's because they are just a blast. Scooters are inherently fun. I've let a lot of people try my different scooters, and I would say 1 in 10 kind of scowl and end up frustrated. Maybe it's more like 2 in 10. Yeah. I would say 80% of the people that jump on them go, whoa, this is awesome. The people that say, whoa, this is awesome are surfer friends of mine, people who ride motorcycles, people who rode skateboards as kids. That same crowd, that same tribe, they just absolutely love it. And then you can just see their face light up. Some people do have a difficult time. It's not 4 wheels. It's only 2 wheels. I mean, people ride bicycles. I don't understand why you wouldn't be able to ride a scooter, but there are those out there who are not comfortable riding scooters for some reason. Another good reason you may consider buying a scooter is to save money. If you do live, I would say 4 miles away. I just wouldn't want to go more than 4 miles. It's kind of taxing in a lot of ways that you don't think of if you don't ride a scooter. You're looking up ahead and you're saying, is there an island in the middle of the street? Can I cross there? Which maybe one side of the street, that happens to me a lot, has a sidewalk and the other side doesn't. Or, you can still ride in the street even though there's not a sidewalk. Or for me, when I'm on the Wolf, I can just jump onto the side of the road if there is, hills, grass or grassy knolls or dirt trails or anything like that on the side of the road. I'll just hop on those. But if you're having a ride on a commuter scooter on your job to Hooters, then you're going to have to consider, where are the traffic lights? Where do I need to cross the street? What certain dangerous points are there on my commute, on my way to work? But if you are willing to do all that, you're definitely going to save money, especially so let's say you went all out and paid $3,000 for just a gorgeous, very capable scooter. What does that compare to the price of a car? My scooter, if I live 4 miles away, I could go to and from work all week on one charge and probably have some left over to have fun with on the weekend. Just charge it one night. People don't really recommend that you do that. I've heard with lithium batteries, I've heard from experts. They have all these different controllers, though. Certain batteries will top off. When it's almost ready to be topped off, it'll kind of shut itself down. But I have heard that if you take a lithium battery, I know all these people, I'm going to get emails saying I'm wrong. I'm not an electrician. I'm not an engineer. I don't know all that stuff. But that if you go 100% on a lithium battery, it won't last as long as if you charge it up to like 97% or almost all the way and then unplug it. But I've also heard that it depends on the technology that is in that battery. They have ways of shutting down at exactly the appropriate time so that you can't really do anything wrong. But most people I know, when they go for a ride on the scooter, come back, plug it back in, and unplug it. Next time they're ready to go for a ride, that should be fun. And fine. What's fun about turning off an electric scooter or unplugging it? I don't think so. The last issue, this isn't really an issue. None of the Electric Scooter podcast listeners have DUIs. I know that. But if you did, or for some reason you were restricted from driving, hey, this is a great way to get around town. A great and fun way, I might add, to get around town. So that does it for our first topic. Should you buy an electric scooter? I would say yes for me. For you? Maybe not. Now it's time for topic number 2. YouTube. We always have little chats about YouTube. I want to tell you about a British bloke who I stumbled across, I don't know how long ago, but I know he's been on YouTube since 2015. But he's from the other side of the pond, and his name is Ben Fox. Benfox. I got interested in his videos because he really pushes the boundaries. He uses special effects and humor and nice cinematography. He's one of the first guys I saw using a 360 camera. And his channel is just really, really fun. It is informative. He is definitely an advocate for scooters. He's got a song called Electric Scooter Song. Hey, maybe I should ask him if I can appropriate part of it and play it over the air. Full-on music video. He either is a professional videographer or he's a very talented and intense hobbyist. And I started watching his reviews. The Xiaomi, Xiaomi, it's pronounced Xiaomi scooter. Just all different types of e-scooters. Unagi, 9bot. Every once in a while he'll review e-bikes. But he did the Mercane wide wheel, which he didn't like. And I got to tell you, although I love watching his videos, I really do. And sometimes if I have a buddy who I either used to surf with or used to skate with or used to motorcycle with, and I'm trying to get him into scooters because I want to ride with people sometimes. I do ride alone, but it's fun to go on little excursions with people. I'll invite them over to the house and we'll watch a couple Ben Fox videos because they're just fun to watch on their own, even if you are not into scooters. But I love that he is an advocate and he's a funny guy. His scooter videos are just, to me, very interesting and fun to watch. So even if you're not into scooters, check out Ben Fox. Of course you're into scooters. Why are you listening to this podcast? Ben Fox. He seems to have an obsession with Harry Potter and a lot of things that are classically British. And he does something called Ben Fox Originals, which are kind of little short videos that generally have nothing to do with electric scootering, but often you will see the appearance of an electric scooter. His big thing, or his theme, running motif, is zero emissions. If you go to his YouTube channel main page, you'll see he has a section that's called Store, and you can buy T-shirts that say zero emissions, and you can buy Scooter Hero T-shirts and things like that. So if you get a chance, check out Ben Fox. If you like him, subscribe. I do. Topic number 3. Should your scooter have solid tires? Pneumatic just means there's air in the tires. Or maybe these new honeycomb tires. What do you think about those? By the way, when you say air tires, I want to split that category in half because there is a category. I do have both. One type of pneumatic tire has a tube inside, and one type is kind of like an automobile tire. They call them tubeless, and you're just less likely to get a flat on them. But what are some of the things you need to think about before you buy a scooter? I mean, we mentioned a lot of the things earlier, what you're going to use it for. Now I'm going to say, what type of level handy person are you? Can you do maintenance on your scooters? Because definitely the most comfortable ride and the safest is going to be your pneumatic tire. Your tire that has air in it, whether it has a tube or it's tubeless. I personally would recommend to everybody, if you can, get a tubeless. You get the best of both worlds. Yeah, they'll still get flats, but they are less likely to get flats than a tire with a tube in it. But a tire with a tube in it is fairly easy to patch if you get a hole in it. If you have rudimentary mechanical skills, you can do it. One thing you really want to look at, too, is the little protrusion where you fill the air, the stem on your tire, because on some of these scooters, it's hard to get to. My fluid-free ride, was it the fluid-free ride? I think it was. One of my scooters came with an extender, like an attachment, to attach onto your air hose, just so you could like kind of bend around a corner and get in and get the tip of it attached so that you can fill it with air. What a pain. So really, really, really want to look at that. Again, I recommend the air tires that do not have an inner tube in them. They just seem to last better. They're just as comfortable. Then you got to figure, it's only a small segment that gets the all-terrain tires, and there are only certain scooters, very limited number of scooters that have all-terrain tires on them. And of the scooters that have all-terrain tire as an option, 80% of people opt for the street tire as opposed to the air tire. So I'm in the minority. I do like the off-road tires. I like the ability to be on the street and ride to get to the place where I'm going to go climb that hill or head off down that trail. So you also have solid tires. Now, solid tires are for people who have a commute, or their use case is that they're going to be on the street and they hate doing any maintenance. I mean, they want to do zero maintenance whatsoever on their scooter. You can get a solid tire. Now, there are going to be compromises. The ride is not going to be as comfortable. You know, you could overcome some of that if your scooter has really good suspension on it, but solid tires. I think the Wide Wheel and the Wide Wheel Pro, I believe that's the case. So in some cases, a good suspension can mitigate some of that bumpy ride that solid tires give you. But there's some other things you need to think about too. If you're willing to put up with that little bumpier ride for the sake of no maintenance, think about this. If you skid a lot, or even one time, say you have a really big, massive skid because a car almost cut you off and you laid on the brakes, now you've got a little flat spot on your tire. And as you're driving, it's going dibbity, 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 and you got to listen to that and you got to feel that basically forever. I don't know if there's any way to shave down the rest of the tire. Maybe there is. I've never heard of anybody doing that. So those are your two options as far as the main categories of tires are air-filled and solid. But now, enter the honeycomb. I have an electric skateboard by Backfire. It's called the Ranger X1, and it is an all-terrain off-road skateboard. It's fine on the street. I mean, it's great on pavement and everything too, but it shines. I like going over grass. You know, I wouldn't go over the same things that I go over in my Wolf Warrior. No way. But if you're going to a park with meandering trails that are tamped down pretty well, or a lot of sidewalk, a lot of pavement, a little bit of gravel and stuff like that, it's pretty awesome. And the honeycomb tires, I can really say they are fairly comfortable. Why more scooters don't have them, I'm not sure. But it is a compromise in between your solid tire and your pneumatic tire. I would suppose, I don't have enough miles on mine, having broke my arm. I quit riding the electric skateboard for a while. And it was fairly new. I don't know how many miles I had on it. I would say less than 20 at the time. And I had my accident. It was on a regular skateboard, not an all-terrain and not an electric. It was just a regular skateboard. So they're all dangerous. So be careful out there, folks. But I would imagine some of the downsides to honeycomb tires would be wear and tear. Same thing might happen if you go into a big, long skid. I don't know. You might get a little flat spot on your tire. I would think that they would last long, but they may break down because of that honeycomb material. But on their behalf, I would say probably taking an old one off and exchanging a new one is probably no big deal at all. So those are your three options: pneumatic, solid, and now honeycomb. I just give you the facts. You weigh them. You make your own decision. But for me, what I have decided, because of the various scooters I've ridden and the ones I own, that the optimum tire for an electric scooter is a pneumatic tubeless tire. Yay! We get to it finally. Oh, I almost forgot one more thing to mention about pneumatic tires, and it's not really a raging controversy, but I've heard opposite opinions. People say as soon as you get one, put this stuff called slime, and you put the slime in it and it seals automatically if you get a puncture. But a mechanic told me that you could get that same sensation of, your tire being slightly off and slightly lopsided depending on how the slime settles there, depending on what temperature is the area that you live in, the climate, and all those kind of things. So a mechanic told me, definitely don't put slime in your pneumatic tires. But a lot of people who ride scooters a lot, I've heard it on the Electric Scooter Guide, I've heard Chuck Temple and other people say, hey, have some slime, put some slime in there, slime's good, go for the slime. Prime slime and prime time. There's something that rhymes.
I like them with tortillas. I like them with rice. I even eat them with greens. Yeah, that's pretty nice. I like beans. I like beans. I like beans. I like beans.
Now it's time for ESPN, Electric Scooter Podcast News. Couple comments today of things I saw on television. Last time I saw a couple cool commercials from Voro Motors, and I mentioned those. Is that appropriate for the news? Is that really newsworthy? I don't know. To me it is. I thought it was kind of cool, so that's why I thought I'd mention it. I watched some food shows, and I was watching Hell's Kitchen with Gordon Ramsay. And for their challenge, the cooks had to ride scooters. They're making a Caesar salad, and they had to balance it on bowls, inside the bowl, on the scooter, to take to Gordon so he can inspect it and see if it fit his lofty standards of ratio of salad dressing to romaine lettuce, and whether the sauce had quote unquote broke. How do you break a sauce? I don't really know. I hear that on cooking shows a lot, that the sauce broke. I've never broken a sauce. I wish there were more shows featuring scooters. There's that woke guy. I'll have to get his name and maybe talk about him another time. He's got a great video about scooters. He kind of put it out. It's very negative. He kind of put it out at a time when Lime was big and bird scooters, and people were trashing them, and they're a menace to society and all that. But Electric Scooter Guide ran a show for a while. I hope it's recurring. I hope they're going to do more, called Scooter Hunters. And the premise is they find someone who's about to buy a scooter for a specific reason, and they let them try 3 different scooters, and they film them. It's nice. They do it with drone shots and action cameras and put it to music, and it's always well done. The most recent one I watched was a guy was going to scooter up the entire eastern shore of Florida. Not the entire, but a good part of it. He was going up to Daytona from somewhere down south. Really good episode. I went ahead and watched that guy's own channel and followed the actual trip that he made. Come on, ESG. Revive Scooter Hunters. We want it. It's good. Bring it back. In Oslo, Norway, somebody went into their P settings, and took off the governor for the speed on their scooter and ran it to a whopping 36 miles per hour. That is fast for a scooter. Anytime you get above 25, I'd say you feel like you're really going fast. Mine goes to 50. It goes up to 50. In Norway, the top legal speed for electric scooters is 12.4 miles per hour. So this person basically tripled the speed limit. Whoa. So what they did is they had a big sting operation. They cracked down on these 2 people that were suspected of speeding on scooters. They said they both, this is the Guardian, that says they both face prosecution, but they did not reveal what type of charges they would face. Only that the scooter that was illegally modified would be seized, and it was seized. Wow. That's a little bit harsh. You taking my scooter because I went too fast? I'm just jealous, bruh. At just about 34 minutes, that's a wrap for Electric Scooter Podcast, episode number 5. Keep the shiny side up and the dirty side down.